What's up? What's up? So recently I ended a situationship and I decided to share it on social media because it's a lonely journey. Not many people even know what a situationship is, but even on top of that, people don't even understand why you would even be a part of a dynamic like that. It serves a powerful purpose because it shows you where you're abandoning yourself. And I'm going to get into that and I'm going to answer questions that I got from the post because a lot of people actually resonated with it. And I actually have questions that I'm going to give you that'll help you not only end the situationship if it's not a good fit for you, doesn't feel good, so probably isn't, and also how to have discernment moving forward so you can end the cycle yourself and not end up repeating the cycle over and over. So, the first question I want to start off with is how can you even break up or separate if you weren't even in a relationship together? That's the thing that I feel keeps you stuck in your head. It had me questioning and doubting myself as to what was happening and why am I feeling like we're in a relationship even though we're not? And the thing that really had me confused was are they feeling the same way about me as I do about them? Because yes, the person's being honest and they're communicating that they don't want a commitment, they don't want a relationship, they're emotionally unavailable, but their actions are showing otherwise. There's the concern of if I'm being used, because other people would just say that you're being delusional. But here's the thing, this is why it feels like it's a lonely journey. Because unless you're a part of the dynamic, they're not feeling the emotional closeness, right? The emotional connection, the bond that was made and is continuing to be made throughout this connection. So from the outside looking in, it's like, yeah, this person's using you. Yeah, they're just getting what they want and leaving. But what's keeping you around is you're feeling the connection. And the purpose of this whole dynamic, whether you want to see it as anxious avoidant, situationship, twin flames, another one, what it is the fear of abandonment coming up. And the purpose of this kind of connection is for you to free yourselves from the fear of abandonment that you've been holding on to and more often than not has been passed on to you from the people that raised you. So I'm going to speak from my own personal experiences and you let me know if you resonate. So this happened to me 3 times, right? Got some experience. Second one was a relationship. And although it was a relationship, it still had the anxious avoidant dynamic to it. So the relationship ended up happening because the person didn't want me to leave. And the third one showed me that I could trust myself and that I ended the cycle, especially that there was history there. So the first one gave me the confirmation that I wasn't losing my mind, that I wasn't crazy, that although we're not technically in a relationship, the feeling was still there and the feeling was mutual. Even though they were being honest and communicating, yes, I don't want a relationship. I don't want a commitment. I'm emotionally unavailable, right? However, it was said, even though they were saying those things, the actions were different. I would take the step back and take that space to lick my wounds because nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that the person doesn't want the same thing that you do. But every time I would take the step back, the person would then reach out because they wouldn't want to lose me. They would feel me stepping away. The point where people communicate that they are emotionally unavailable was when I was already emotionally invested. Because again, beyond the intimacy, we're hanging out, we're talking. There's an emotional connection that's being made. When they communicate that, that's when the fear of abandonment is coming up in both of us because they're feeling a sense of safety that they haven't experienced before. And this is something that they've communicated to me that they feel valued, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel appreciated, acknowledged, and they feel loved for who they are. And that's the thing with me is walls don't exist around me. I provide a sense of safety because that's what I want to feel for myself. So I just exude that for everybody around me. So the walls that people navigate life behind, they don't have to do that with me. And that could be a beautiful thing, but it could also be a very scary thing. And that's what I felt when I was told that they were not wanting to commit. It's the fear that this safety, this love can be taken away from them at any moment, the same way it was taken away when they were growing up or at some point in their life when they experienced it. Because that was the theme with all three people for me. All, like each person had a painful abandonment experience. And I had my own painful abandonment experience where I had to navigate my mom going heavy into drinking to where I felt like, yes, she was there, but she wasn't there. And then she's a lot better now, but then also with my pops, in me having the preference of liking men, that caused like a rift. And we have a beautiful dynamic now, but it was something growing up I can feel he did not want to be true. So I had to navigate the shame and everything like that, and I'll do different episodes on that. So, in understanding the pain of abandonment, I did not want the person that I'm caring about, that I have love for, to ever feel abandoned. So, when I would feel them ghost and understanding their stories, their past of abandonment, I wanted to be the representation of love that was here to stay. I wanted to reassure them that although I'm getting mad and I'm pissed off by it, right? Nobody wants to be ghosted. It's not a good feeling to go a period of time where the person is either communicating very minimal with you or sometimes not at all, but then reappearing and apologizing because I want to be the example of love that I want to experience and I want to share with this person that I care for. I'm seeing beyond the pain that they're showing up as because I know that what the ghosting is for. Like I'm understanding them. And of course, going down this whole rabbit hole of trying to understand what's going on because I'm trying to make sure I'm not losing my mind. I'm not going crazy. So I'm finding out about anxious and avoidant attachment and why I'm feeling this way. Why are they showing up this way? Because I want to show up to the best of my ability for this relationship, right? Any relationship I'm a part of, I'm not just looking to show up and just take. I'm looking to show up in the ways of how can I give as well, right? I want to be the best partner I possibly can for my partner. And then I would like to receive that as well. But that's the thing. The abandonment that was brought up in me was give. How can I show up the best way possible? How can I be understanding? How can I show them that it's safe? But the whole time I'm abandoning myself and not allowing myself to feel safe, not allowing myself to receive the love that I'm giving. And what that does over time is it starts to deteriorate your sense of worth, your sense of value, and your sense of trust that you have with yourself. Because it plants this seed that the seed's already there, by the way, but it waters the seed that what you're doing is not enough. So I kept having to try to figure out ways of how to do more. And how can I be more understanding? How can I not push them away? What am I doing that's pushing them away? And the fear of abandonment is the love now that I'm feeling being taken away. The other person is feeling that this love is going to be taken away. So let me just rip the band-aid and just do it. But then they do it and it's like, oh my God, no, this person's actually going away. Come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. So it's like this push-pull. And I have notes here to kind of keep me on track. So one ways that I got the confirmation that I wasn't crazy and I wasn't losing my mind is with the first person. So I was talking with a guy in Jersey, and then that was intense, especially that was my first time navigating this. When I moved out here to Texas, where I'm at now, I got a phone call from them. And I don't block the numbers of my exes. I'm going to get into that, but the reason why I don't is because some people can feel when you've made up your mind and there's no changing it. So if somebody's reaching out to you, you have not made up your mind. Energetically, you're still inviting them, but we'll get to that. So they reached out to me and I haven't heard them for some time. So they called and it was, the same cycle that they thought was going to be, hey, I'm coming to visit from New York, want to see you. And I tell them that I've moved. But it was in that conversation that I can feel the walls completely drop, where through the safety of this no longer being on the table, I'm already in a completely other state. So it's essentially like the fear that they were afraid to come true came true. And then they finally opened up and said, hey, even though we weren't in a relationship, I feel like we were. And I said, I know. You made me feel crazy and think that that wasn't the case, but I know. So like I jokingly cursed them out and let them know how I felt. But it was a nice reassurance that although I had the time and space to myself and accepting, hey, this is done, and building that trust with myself, which I'll get into how you can do that, I got to reassure myself that, hey, it was true. You felt something. So to get the confirmation was a nice, hey, I'm not crazy. So if you resonate with any of this, you're not crazy. This does not mean ignore yourself and keep chasing. It's just confirmation that yes, they feel the same way about you. It's true, but that's not the point of this whole dynamic. That's not the point of this connection. The point of this connection is to help you realize where you are abandoning yourself. And with that, I want to go to another question where people are asking, why aren't they reciprocating? So, the main reason why they're not reciprocating on a deeper level, because I like to go beyond the surface level stuff, it's to show you where you are not loving yourself, where you are not reciprocating with yourself. Because keep in mind, you're always watching yourself. You're both the parent and the child. So you're literally watching yourself constantly show up for somebody, provide so much love, so much understanding. But when it comes to you, you're thinking like you're messing up, you're doing something wrong, and you don't have the time of day to slow down for yourself. But you will stop everything that you are doing just so you could do something loving to them or send like a text of saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. But you don't have 5 minutes for yourself. You don't have the ability to go out for a walk because you got things to do. So, not to say that that's not true, but it's like, hey, you're kind of showing yourself that that's BS, that that's a lie, because you're being the perfect person, the perfect partner for somebody that's not even showing up for you. But every time you have ever done that for yourself, don't you feel better? Don't you have more energy? Don't you have more to give? And again, that's the whole thing with this dynamic is for both of you to show yourselves where you're abandoning yourself. Because, yeah, it seems like they're going off and enjoying life and keeping themselves busy, but that's their form of abandoning themselves. Because I've also had conversations with people that are on the other side and going to the avoidant. And that's the thing that happens if you move, if you try to move forward from this, from a space of anger, resentment, or bitterness, you're going to trade places with the avoidant. You're going to end up in fear, pushing love away and then trying to keep it, but then pushing it away because you're not able to be trusting. We're going to get into that too. But that's why this whole dance is happening of the chaser and the runner. Like, again, if you want to call it twin flame, whatever you want to call it, anxious avoidant, but that's why that theme happens, right? One person is in fear of the love, not so much that it's coming. They're afraid to let it in because they're afraid to lose it again. So they try to run away from it. And then one person's like, wait, wait, wait. No, this love is stable. This love is safe. This love is here. But also, they're not trying to lose the love. And then when the person that's chasing gets to the point of like, okay, whenever I got to the point of, okay, It is what it is. This sucks. This hurts. I've had enough. I'm just going to accept it's done. Right when that period happens, and I step away and I mean it, the person's like, wait, 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 no, no, no. And they trade places, right? Because now the person, their fear is coming true of, oh my God, this is going to go away. I messed up. Let me come back. And that's why there's the theme of the chaser and the runner, right? That happens. The reason why that happens is usually the one that's the chaser doesn't have, I didn't have the ability to express my wants. And it's because I had to show up more for my parents. And that was the areas in which I was abandoning myself because I didn't feel I could ask for what I wanted because it's not so much the words of like, yes, my parents provided, they were amazing, they were incredible, but I can feel that they weren't in the space to show up more than they could in that moment. So I needed to kind of put my wants and needs aside and try to show up as much as I can for them for what they were navigating. And that carried over to the space of, okay, now when it comes to love, I'm being loving rather than asking for what I want, because what I really want is a commitment. I want the safety of that this person's not going to leave. I can feel that in this moment, I can put that aside and I just need to show up for this person that I'm caring about. I need to be as loving and understanding as I know myself to be because it's what I've done before. And I just need to keep showing it's okay. It's a safe space. I understand that you're going through it. I understand it has nothing to do with me. I understand. I understand. I understand. And constantly chasing and chasing and chasing, you get to the point where it's just like, okay, this sucks. This hurts. I can't do this anymore. So then you stop. For me, as I would step away, take the space and just deal with the pain of this is not going to change. I can't do this anymore. Is right around that time where the person feels you're not showing up in the same way and they'll start reaching out to you. And as the person comes back, when the person came back to me, they would apologize and they'll start to let me in a little bit as to why they were doing the things that they were doing. And I would see the person behind the wall. When I'm chasing, they're behind the wall, they're hiding, they're running. When I stop, they come from behind the wall and they start to open up. When you see that, that's the thing. It's not really a performative thing because you can feel the scared part of them that's afraid to lose you. And then that also strikes up the fear of abandonment as well because it's like, damn, I don't want to lose, I don't want this person to not feel safe to do that again. I want more of that. So then you show up and it's this continual dance that happens until you start to realize the love that you see within them is the love that you have within you. That's what's happening. It feels like the love that you have within them, you're afraid to lose. And that's why you're fighting so hard for it. Ultimately, the love that you're feeling for them and the possibility, the potential, right? That's the biggest thing. It's the potential that keeps you in it, the potential of them changing, the potential of them opening their heart, the potential of them finally feeling safe enough to just say yes and connect. That potential is more of your potential to open your heart and remain loving, to stay in a state of love without the fear of it going away. The potential that, hey, you can feel loved. You've been showing it to yourself this whole time. And the fact that you can do it in these periods of intense turbulence, right? These storms, and you're still able to come back to this feeling, that's what this is showing you. that the love is in you. You have the love. The person is just more of an excuse for you to open up your heart, open up to the feeling of love, and let yourself feel love again. That's all relationships. You're actually using that person as an excuse to finally be yourself, which is love. What you're showing yourself is the ability to trust yourself with the love that you feel, and that it's not conditional to the point where if the person leaves, they take the love with them, that this love is here to stay. That's what you're building the trust with, that this love that you feel is actually here to stay because that love is you. And that ability of trust is actually why I don't block numbers. Because I had somebody ask me in the video, I said I blocked the person. They said, well, how did they contact you? I block on social media because I want the only point of contact to be direct. Phone number. That's it. I don't want you scoping out and messaging me or liking. I don't want none of the subtle bullshit. If you're going to speak to me, come correct, come direct. The reason I keep the direct line open is for two things. If the person is reappearing, is because energetically you invite them in, and the third person showed that to me because I met them between the first two. And a couple months of this whole experience, right? Situationship, they weren't committal. And then because of the first experience, I reached my threshold a lot sooner. And I just put an end to things. But then after the relationship, a couple months after, they just wrote this long message owning up to everything, apologizing for everything. It's not something I expected because we haven't been talking at all for the, few years. So I received it and I read it, and there was nothing in there where there was saying it to reconnect. It was just more of taking ownership and apologizing. And it was almost like seeing them be the version of themselves that I always saw. I wasn't aware until we reconnected last year that there was that seed of hope. That hope that, okay, maybe they're different now. It's been a couple years. I've definitely changed within myself. Maybe we're reconnecting because they also changed too. So little by little, started to talk, started to engage. And then I got to see, oh no, they're not different. They're actually, this is more of an echo. This is what I like to refer as an echo. It's not a repeat of it unless I choose it, unless I choose for it to be. It's not a repeat. It's more of a choice to see if I'm going to go down the same path and do the same thing. And that's what was different this time. I did it. I communicated, hey, this is not a match to what I want. So I'm providing clarity where there isn't any. And I blocked them out on social media. And I'm saying this through text with them. This is what happened like earlier this week. And they got to feel the decisiveness behind it. And that's the thing. People can feel it's not what you're saying, right? You could block or do whatever, but it's what you're feeling that people respond to. You can feel what somebody has made up their mind and there's no changing it. That's why I keep the numbers open because I don't want to rob myself of the opportunity to stand by my decision, to show myself that I can trust myself in an area where I doubted myself. That's why I don't block numbers. Because when we speak, best believe I've had the time to reconnect with myself and gain this stable trust with myself that I will communicate what my wants are, and I will communicate that they're not here with you. And when somebody feels that, all three of them, again, the line has been open, they don't reach out and they're not going to reach out because they know, they can feel there's nothing they could say or do that would ever change my mind. It doesn't matter. It's done. I got what I needed from it. And the fact that I also don't do it from bitterness, right? Because there was another question I got, but about resentment. But before we get into that, I don't do it out of bitterness because when you do something, when you try to end it and you're reactive and you're angry, that's when they're just gonna wait and be like, okay, give them some space. When they calm down after a couple months, I'll like reappear. But for me, doing it from a space of love, thank you. I feel we are complete for what we needed to do and provide to each other in this dynamic. I appreciate you and I wish you nothing but the best. That, and again, it's not even so much the words, but them feeling that you're truly done and complete. That again, there's nothing that could ever be done for that to change. There's an acceptance on their end that's also felt. And that's what brings the completion for you because, yeah, you can block, but when I blocked before on all platforms and the numbers, I noticed when I would hear their name come up or if I were to see them out and about, there will be this jolt in my system. There'll be this internal jolt that I'd be like, oh, fuck, this person's here, or oh, hearing about them. I have to act like I'm okay and just ignore whatever. But that jolt lets me know that that charge is there, that energetic charge is there. So I'm not complete. I have not closed it, which means that jolt, you may interpret it as like anger or hatred or whatever, but that person has power over you because they're able to change your state of being without even being in the room with you, just at the thought of them. So, number one, I don't allow anybody to have power over me because I bring awareness to when I feel that. It's like, why did my state just change? But two, that's going to impact how you move forward and if you move forward. Because there's two ways to keep the door open. One way is, yeah, they could come back, say the right thing, do the right thing for a period of time until they show you they haven't changed. Or number two, you're so angry and resentful towards them that you actually carry that moving forward and you're afraid to open up to the next person. So you're still carrying the past with you and you're still carrying that fear of abandonment with you. It just now alchemized to a different way to where now you're the avoidant one. And that's the thing to really be aware of. And now we get to shift to the other question. So somebody asks, how can you not be resentful? How can you not have like that fu energy towards them, that anger, that bitterness for the pain that they caused you? And there's a few layers to it, but the first thing is to acknowledge that you still have love for them. You don't want to admit it, and I'd rather just go to like the harder thing first because the other stuff that I'm about to say would be much easier. And just admit to yourself that love is there. And what I mean by that is that person, the reason why you may be angry or bitter is feeling that person is the reason why you're not able to feel the love you once felt. And it's like it's their fault that this love was taken away, that this beautiful feeling was taken away because they did this and this and this. And just the extremes of the energy of it, right? For the anger and the bitterness, however much you're feeling that, the polar opposite, which is the love, has to exist. Otherwise, you would not feel the anger and the bitterness. You would just feel nothing. And that's what I'm saying as far as carrying, still being energetically open to this person. And admitting that you still have love for this person doesn't mean that you're looking to reconnect with them, right? Because there could be a part of you that's like, no, fuck that. I'm not trying to reintroduce this person. No, it's just for you to remind yourself that you still have access to love. And that person at one point helped you gain access to that love. And another way to approach it is to have an appreciation for the person, not so much the person that you're seeing that's showing up and causing the pain, but the person behind that you saw, right? The person behind the wall, so to speak, the person, the soul that has helped you learn more about yourself and learn how to reconnect and love yourself. That's what you're having the appreciation and love for. And more than anything, you want to acknowledge that you want to keep your heart open moving forward. Because if you close your heart off with anger, resentment, and bitterness, you may come across the person that's a beautiful fit for you, right? Everything you wanted and more. But because you're closed off and you're still holding that resentment towards the past person, you're not going to be as trusting for the next person. You might have them go through some extra loops, or there's going to be all this tests that you're going to do, which then the person's not really going to be sure if they could be as opening and connecting towards you, because you like, fuck, man, that's going to be a lot. Jesus, you just got to own when sometimes you're just doing too much. And if you're not able to let go of the past, it's like, hey, you need some time with yourself before that person can come in. So that's the ways where you actually flip the roles and you're pushing love away because of what you're not able to let go of the past. And that's what allowing yourself to release the resentment with the love that's already there, right? Because of the polar opposites, the love is what allows you to let it go and allows you to feel safe to let love in and not have to change your state of being in fear that this is going to repeat itself, because it takes trust to keep your heart open. And the trust is you trusting yourself that if any of these alarms go off, right, these notifications of, hey, like something's off, that you can trust yourself this time around, again, which is why I don't block the number. You've now built this muscle, built this ability to trust yourself that you will communicate if something's off. And that sense of communication brings the sense of safety of, I can keep my heart open. It's okay. We're good. I got you. I'm not going to abandon you ever again. So it's okay to still love. And the last part about this question is understanding that you attracted a relationship that mirrored the abandonment that you have within yourself, that self-abandonment. So it wasn't based on the words. It was how you were feeling that the person is mirroring back to you. So if you carry that sense of not feeling safe to open up your heart and close off, guess what you're gonna attract to you with the next person? Somebody that doesn't match, that also doesn't feel safe to fully open up their heart, and you're just gonna continue on this dance of the fear of abandonment, right? Because that's why you're being resentful and angry, is feeling like you were abandoned. So you're still gonna attract, again, what you're feeling, not so much what you're saying. So you want to practice the feeling of feeling safe to let love in. Now we got two more questions. So the next one is, how do you end it? How do you end the situationship? And this is where I got questions for you guys. That's really going to help you to where you're not going to repeat the cycle anymore. Those are my intentions with these questions. If you approach them completely, like brutally raw and honest with you, but with love, because that's the main thing, is to approach yourself with love and curiosity. Every time you have punished yourself for not have known better or have done better, then that's going to keep you essentially hiding from yourself, because you're going to be judging yourself on your true motives. It's going to feel like either you were dumb for doing this, were you delusional, why did you do this? Like, in all these like expectations or comparisons with yourself and everybody else in the world and what you should have done, that's not what you did. And you get to be honest with what your intentions were. I know that my intentions were to change these people, that I was so fixated more on their potential than how they were right now. Because I really believe that people can change. I've seen evidence of it. I am the evidence of it. And since I know it's possible, I don't want people to be in pain. I've seen people in pain throughout my life as I've grown up. So, me wanting them to change is more from the space of them not experiencing pain anymore. So, yeah, I may have done dumb things or however it appears as something dumb, but my intentions are well and pure, and I don't need your agreement for that. I know that I really want people to just feel loved and be loved and feel safe enough to just be their truest expression. That's what I want for myself. So it's only right that I want it for everybody else too, naturally. I see myself in everybody around me. So especially as the relationship gets closer, right? Stranger, friends, family, and now, intimate, I'm gonna want nothing but the best for you. So I understand what I was doing and why I was doing it, but in no longer being hard on myself about it. I get to see, okay, everything I thought that person was doing to me, I was doing to myself. And it's not from a sense of it being bad or wrong. The intentions were pure. I just have to be aware to provide that to myself first. Then, if I have the overflow, I can share any excess from that, right? Let me, tap into my own potential first, and then I won't be so fixated on others. Let me allow myself to feel the love and be the love. Then I won't need them to be the source of it or perceive them as the source of it. So now for the three questions, right? So approach yourself with absolute love and curiosity, right? Always knowing that your intentions are pure, and really be raw with your answers. Don't feel like you have to come up with the right answer. It's going to be four questions. The first one being, what are at least 10 ways that you have ignored yourself and why? You can recall the ways that you've ignored yourself in this dynamic, but you really want to break down what they were and why. And it's easy to list three, but do at least 10. And you're going to see all the little ways that you have ignored yourself. And you just want to find out, why did you do that? Again, from a space of curiosity, not from why did you do that? Just why did you do that? And like, you can feel there's ways that you probably heard, why did you do that growing up, and you were afraid of being punished or feeling like you've done something wrong. You get to change that with this question. The second is, why do you believe love has to be hard? And just let whatever comes up with that, because there's a lot of things you may have heard, right? Love isn't easy. You need to work at it. And I'm not saying any of that is not true, but you want to find out why you believe love needs to be hard, because I'm sure that kind of contradicts the love that you want to experience. So you can already see where there's an internal argument already taking place, that you want an easy love where you both understand each other, communication's easy, you're very vulnerable, open, connecting with each other, but you believe love has to be hard at the same time. Why is that? You just want to find out why. That's it. Just get curious. The third is, do you think you are worth staying for? And another way to frame this question is, are you worth committing to? It's so interesting because the initial answer may be yes, right? I know I'm worth staying for. I know I'm worth committing to. And that's why, like, you may have done the chasing or whatever, or you may have pushed whatever your side of the dynamic is, you just being you, not having to do anything. Do you feel you are worth staying for? If you didn't have to overperform, overgive, understand so much, and do all these things, if you didn't have to, or try to, make yourself appear a certain way and be irresistible, whatever your approach is, you just being effortlessly you, do you feel you are worth staying for? Do you feel you are worth committing to? even on your worst days, that the person still chooses you? Do you feel you're worth that? And the last question, what does you being committed to yourself look like? And keep your heart open as you're answering this question so it's not so fixated on saying no to what's not a match to me. I mean, throughout the day, throughout your life, right? Throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, throughout your life, what does you being committed to you look like? Because now you know all the ways that you have ignored yourself. So, in seeing the flip side of that, what does commitment to yourself look like? Because again, you want to be a match to the person that you're going to connect with. So you got to lead by example. You got to lead by example as to what does commitment to you look like? Because even when you're in the relationship, you're still going to have to be committed to you. You're just now keeping yourself up to speed with the commitment that you provide to your partner. Because what was done in the situationship, right, in that dynamic was giving from an empty cup and giving love that you weren't giving yourself, that feeling of depletion. So that showed you, okay, if however much you love your partner and you want to love them, it's now imperative for you to love yourself to like the umph degree. Like love yourself so much that you have that excess to give to your partner if you want to show up that way. And after answering all these questions, this is how you end the cycles, because now you understand why you abandon yourself, but also how it feels. You're no longer running away from the feeling of abandoning yourself. You're not keeping yourself distracted, whether that be like, okay, I'm just going to focus on me and do my goals. And you can still do that stuff, but make sure you're not healthily distracting yourself, because there are healthy distractions. A lot of people go to the gym because it's so much easier to deal with physical pain than it is to deal with the emotional pain. So, and that's still abandonment. So now, and no longer ignoring the ways that you have abandoned yourself, accepting it, and now committing to yourself and acknowledging how it feels and the ways that you're calling for your attention when this pain comes up, then it changes the ways that you want to show up in a relationship. And then you get to see that ultimately this person just wasn't what you wanted. They're not a match to it. When you start to commit to yourself, you start to see, yeah, this person really can't, they just can't do that. They can't commit to me in the ways that I commit to myself. So they're just not a match to me. And now it's no longer about the person. You get to see, like, now you have evolved into the person that you want to be in a relationship with. So now when you get the notifications that, hey, something feels off. This person seems great. This person seems amazing. They've been checking a lot of boxes, but something feels off right now. Now, with you developing this sense of trust by being committed to yourself in all these little ways throughout the day, you feel that you could trust yourself to communicate that when you feel something's off, because now you feel safe in just standing by what your wants are, right? Not even needs, just what it's okay for you to want. And now you're okay in actually having that be a normal thing for you. And that ties into the last question of how do you have discernment moving forward so the cycle doesn't repeat? It's two important things. First, acknowledge where are the areas where you abandon yourself. The little ways throughout the days. How do you abandon yourself? Whether that be, it could be staying up late, right? Knowing that you feel better with sleep, but you stay up for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what it is, if you're on the phone or whatever, but you're staying up knowing, man, I'm not going to feel that good waking up for work tomorrow. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be exhausted. And it'll get you to see why you're staying up in a different way. Now, all the areas where you're abandoning yourself in these little ways, right? It could be being in a rush. You know, you don't feel good being in a rush. You don't like being in a rush, but you have compromised the time that you have for your day, that you put yourself in the position to be in a rush. So you kind of abandon yourself. And also, if you realize when you're in the rush, you can't really do everything that you want. You have to now pick and choose so you can get to this place somewhat on time. All right. And I get it. I've been late so much. And I got to see this from a different lens by acknowledging, okay, I'm just abandoning myself because, yeah, I got to, leave now so I could get here on time. So I can't really spend the time to shave like I really want to. And it's a subtle thing, but that's something I wanted to do for myself. So, and acknowledging that, you get to change your perspective and see what's actually happening, and see it's these little subtle abandonments that you now get to choose to commit to. Well, not commit to, but commit to yourself in. And the last one, right? It's going to be a little tough. Say no in the areas where you feel it, but you choose not to say it. And it could be in subtle things where maybe you're invited somewhere. It could be a birthday or something where you feel obligated to go, or somebody asking for help. And it's like, I don't want to do it, but I'm supposed to be a good person. I feel like I should. That's what a righteous person would do, right? The I feel that I should, need, or have to do that. Anytime you say any of those three phrases, you're forcing yourself to do something you don't genuinely want to do. And the thing is, again, it's not the words. The person's going to feel that you didn't really want to do it. There's going to be this subtle feeling of like you're kind of forcing yourself to do it. And you're also, that nice thing is going to shift into a subtle resentment, especially as you continue to do that over time because you're ignoring your wants. You're making it seem like what you want doesn't matter. So start to notice any areas where you want to say no, but you feel the internal argument of like, let's just do it. Just say no. That in itself is going to be a whole experience for you to sit with. That's the like, oh, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? Am I a bad person? All the things that made you believe that it was wrong to say no. Use this, use this whole exercise to do that. So this was good. This was fun. I'm gonna do a lot more of these. Let me know if you like this style of me going through questions. And if you do, ask some questions. All right, we get to like kind of keep this going. So I'm wishing you an amazing day if it's day by you. And if it's nighttime, wishing you an amazing night. And I will catch you later. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff.